Hi guys, my name is Noora. So like all of you guys, I am also student of Nxtwave. I have joined Man Full Stack in Nxtwave in 2022. So currently I am in React.js and recently I have attended Thoughtworks interview from Nxtwave. So the interview was online. So before the interview, there was an offline drive conducted by Thoughtworks. So it was at Innovation Technologies. If you are if you attended any offline drives from Nxtwave, you must have idea about that particular center. So it is like approximately 30 minutes near to the bus stand. So let's get into the point. So first I have attended the offline drive for the Thoughtworks. So basically the role was based on software engineering, and they have asked all the technologies that we learned in Nxtwave. So like every student, I have applied for that job. So like I got a call for the offline drive, and then they said that there will be two rounds conducted by the company. One is aptitude round, another one is coding round, but the scene went different. So they conducted four rounds out there. So the first round was based on aptitude. So in first round there were a few sections like aptitude, verbal, SQL, Python, JavaScript. So first section was based on aptitude, and second section was based on verbal ability. So these two sections are MCQs, and SQL, Python, JavaScript are code. They were having coding questions. So we need to solve that particular questions. So approximately they took around 2 hours for completing this one single round. And after completing this round, they conducted group discussion. They actually divided students into batches, and they conducted group discussion. And our topic was impact of social media and mobiles on teenagers. So they have divided the batch into 15 to 16 people, and group discussion went pretty well. And so actually I'm making this video because I want this video to be helpful to every student who is preparing for online interviews or any other companies. They have just given around 20 to 30 minutes of break for each and every round. So the third round was based on HTML, CSS, JavaScript. So they have given a project like they asked us to build a toggle property. Like there are three sections. Like when I click on particular section, it should appear. So that was it when it comes to HTML, CSS, JavaScript assignment. And React.js assignment was like they asked to uh, display the books based on the search. So ask based on the search input given by the user. So they asked us to take the API, and when the user search for particular book, it should be displayed on the screen. So that was about the offline drive. So completion of after 1 month of completing this particular offline drive, I have got a message from Nxtwave saying ki, so you will be having online interview on October 18. So I just had 2 days, and I got to know about this news 2 days before. And what I did was, so there are some groups on WhatsApp, so where there will be other Nxtwave students are there. So I'm kept a message there asking, so anyone from Nxtwave attended any like Thoughtworks assignment or interview. So one guy said that he recently attended the interview. So I collected the all the questions they asked him in that interview, and I just focused on that particular questions. So that was the blunder mistake I did. So instead of following him blindly, I at least prepared on my own and give some time for like practicing some coding in JavaScript and React.js. But I didn't do that. I just prepared the theoretical part. He said that in the interview they just asked some theoretical questions, and they didn't ask him to do coding. So I followed the same, and that cooked me. And so in my case, the online interview was completely different. So what they did was, they for each and every programming language I have mentioned in my resume, they asked me to write code in that particular language. So let me show you. So when it comes to the online interview, so they have conducted online interview on Google Meet. So first they asked about my self introduction. So in my self introduction, I also mentioned about my hobby and said that I also do digital art. So what he said is, so if you have any art you made, so please show me. If you have your art handy, then show me. So what I did was, I before the interview I sent some samples of my art to my mail, and at the time of interviewer asked, I just showed the art like I did. And then after self introduction, he asked me to open my resume. And in my resume there were 3 projects mentioned. One is food munch, another one is to do application, and third one is e-commerce website. Like every student, I thought that he will ask me to explain my first project like e-commerce website, but the scene went reverse. So he asked me to explain the food munch. So I have explained food munch application project very well to him. Instead of explaining theoretically, he asked me to explain in reality. So how you have implemented this website and so on. So I asked a difference between div and section, and even when I was unable to answer the answer, he tried to give me some hints to solve, to recall that particular answer. Anyway, the interviewer was so friendly, and after completion of the project explanation, he said that did you did any other projects outside of Nxtwave? So actually, I have did that. Application using Python and Fast API, which is used to download YouTube videos into our system. So actually I don't have any deploy. I haven't deployed the code. So what I said is I have not deployed my code, but actually I have source code of that project. So he said if possible show the source code. Then I opened GitHub and showed my project to him, and then he said fine, then let's move to the next topic. And then he first, after completion of everything, he said that let's move to the coding part. And in coding part, he asked me to write coding in JavaScript, like take an array and store some values inside it. So he asked me to print the sorted array, and he wanted me to remove the duplicates from that array. So but after some point he said that you can solve that question in any language. So I have choose Python because I feel comfortable with Python. So, and another question, after completion of sorting and removing duplicates, he asked me to bring the some elements from the last to the front. So I also did that question, and he moved to the next language, that is JavaScript. So he asked me to uh, write code for drop down, and beside drop down he also wanted to take input from the user. So when user writes something in the input, he wanted that input to be stored in the drop down. So like I was listening to the question for the first time, so I felt nervous and I was unable to write code for this particular question. So without any hesitation I said that, sir, sorry sir, so if possible give me some hints. So he gave some hints. Based on that hints I did that question too. And then he moved to React.js. So in that React.js he asked me to take input from the user, like email ID, password and username, and when the user submit all the details, the details submitted by the user should be printed in the console. So I tried to do that, but as I have not practiced that functionality kind of coding kind of thing before preparation, so it affected me during this question. And after completing React.js, he asked me to, in SQL, he asked me to create a table, insert values, and display book with maximum number of pages, average pages, and book with second highest number of pages. Then completion of SQL, after completion of SQL, he asked me questions regarding Node.js, like host something on the server. So it has been so many days since I completed Node.js, I was unable to answer this question also. So that's all. He ended up the interview there itself, and afterwards he said that, do you have any questions for me? So I said yes sir, so if possible give me some inputs to improve myself. Then what he said is, so revise all the concept of each and every language you have learned, and also do projects from outside also. Instead of doing only next year projects, do outside projects also. And instead not don't focus only on theoretical knowledge, also focus on uh, practical knowledge by building projects. And he asked me to like revise the hooks concept from React.js, because that functionality is being mostly used by developers nowadays, he said that. And he ended up the meeting. And that's all about the online interview. And what I mentioned, what I learned from the interview is, so whatever programming languages you have mentioned in the resume, you should must have some deep knowledge. So if you are not confident about any language that you mentioned in your resume, please remove that immediately, because it will affect you at the time of interview. And if you don't know any answer that is asked by the interview, so just say them that you don't know the answer, because instead of wasting time, if you tell them that you don't know, then they will try to help you in solving that particular question. And with that hints, if you at least explain the approach, it will be worth it. So whatever projects you have mentioned in the resume, you should must have the clarity about how you did that, because you don't know what type of questions they will ask based on your project, right? So make sure that you have clear cut knowledge about your project. Another suggestion from my side is, don't just prepare theory questions, because some functionality related questions in JavaScript and React.js will help, because they might ask you to write code for search implementation or submit implementation, etc. And don't forget to cover all the important topics related to every programming language we have mentioned. And another last and foremost important thing is, do projects from outside also and keep them in your resume, because like in Nxtwave, each and every student will do the same project and will mention the same project. So if you do projects from outside, so if you can explain them properly, then you can stand out, right? So that's all from me. I hope this video will help at least one student. So that's all. So if you want any other videos from regarding Nxtwave interviews or anything else, please mention. And if you want me to explain the offline drive process clearly, I will definitely make another video. Yeah, thank you.